Sam Baxendale here, co-founder of Kinetik Hiring. So for today's frequently asked question, I'm going to be asking a question that comes up time and time again. So Namina, who is head of talent acquisition from a well-known digital agency here in Malaysia, asks, what should a typical interview process look like, and what is the duration of a typical interview process, and how many stages should that last? Well, it's a tough one. I would start by saying there is no right answer. It's a very subjective thing depending on the level of the role, or the seniority, or the type of business. So I'll start by saying that, but there are definitely some guidelines that businesses should be very mindful of if they want to run an effective recruitment process and not have a disappointment at the end based on things falling flat because things took too long. Having an efficient interview process is an absolutely critical part of employer branding. It's key to securing candidates at the end of the process smoothly, and giving good candidate experience is something that is just vital in terms of running a smooth and effective recruitment process. So that would be point one. Really think about candidate experience, and then think about realistically how long should the interview process take and how many stages. Just be mindful of that. A typical candidate availability at the moment, particularly in the digital sector, is probably 4 to 6 weeks. So be practical about it. If you're interviewing a candidate, think, well, how long is this candidate going to be realistically available? If they're off the market in 6 weeks, we need to contain our process within that. For me, breaking down the key constituents of effective interviews and what needs to come out of that, there needs to be the initial screen, there needs to be the technical assessment, and the culture fit. So realistically, should there be any more than 3 interviews to cover that? Probably not. So 3 interviews is probably about right. I would also add it's vitally important that interviewing is a two-way process. It's not all about the interviewer or the employer, potential employer, asking questions and finding out information. It's about making sure the candidate has enough to go on to make a decision at the end of it. So it's not just how long it takes and how many stages, but it's actually what takes place within those interviews that's critical. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a guideline on what I would say an effective interview process looks like and the kind of timescales and stages within that. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you.